the word Mercados looks okay, but it doesn't look as good as if we were using the logo for Mercados. It would be a lot better. In fact, you can see it here with the logo from WordPress. Looks fantastic. So let's do the same with the logo for Mercados. So instead of the word Mercados here, we're going to replace that with the logo from Mercados. And how do we do that? So we're going to go here to the parent node. In the parent node, we're going to, instead of giving it a title, we're going to create a span over there. And this span, we're going to give it a class. And let's call it MKDS icon. Okay, so we're creating a simple span tag that has a class, an attribute of class, and the value of that attribute is mkds-icon. Of course, if we refresh, it just disappears. So, of course, nothing has been done yet. So what we need to do is go ahead and insert what we need for that part. And so, very simple. What we're going to say is, well, let's go ahead and add the styles for the menu item to hold our logo. And so we're going to call another hook. In this case, we're going to call it admin menu. So when it's rendering the admin menu, it happens. So we call this style only when the admin menu is being called, admin menu hook, but not when it's the front end. So admin menu, and then a custom function that in this case I'm going to call styles bar. You can call it whatever you prefer. Function mkds styles bar, and the function itself is not going to take any parameters. All right, and so basically what we're going to do is, first of all, calculate the URL where we have our image. And so you can use the plugins URL function. The first parameter is indeed the name of the file, images, mercados.png. So we have a PNG, and the second is the actual file constant. And there you go. And so that gives us the URL where our logo is located. Great. And then all we have to do is create a string. And in this string, we are just going to define our styles. So they're going to be inline. And if it's something that it's going to take a lot of styles, then perhaps you want to create a new style sheet separate. But in this case, since it's something so small, we're going to stick with the style of inserting it inline with our markup. So you have to make that choice and the decision depending on what you're developing. So WP admin bar, and then we're going to call the class that we gave it, which is mkds-icon. And this is basic CSS. So all we have to do is give it a background URL of our URL, which is defined right here. And then we have to define where is it going to be. So it's not going to repeat. And then we want it 0% and 50%, or top center, transparent. Then the background position. And since I already calculated this, I'm just gonna enter the values that I know that are supposed to be there, but you might have to change them a little bit to calculate exactly the position. So let's just go ahead and actually remove this part. So just remember, you have to calculate the background position, and a great way of doing that is using the Firefox extension called Firebug. And so then we're going to give it a height of 20 pixels and a width of 120 pixels. Finally, we're going to display it as block. because span tags are actually inline elements, and because of them being inline elements, then you cannot give them a width, or you can, but it's not going to respect it. So by calling the display block, then you can actually call a width on the item. Save that. Oh, well, of course. And finally, let's go ahead and print this. So print Q. And if we refresh it, then it should actually return it. Very interesting. Let's actually take a look at why it's not doing it, and let's just really quickly revise it. So alrighty, well, after a little bit of debugging, we can check this very easily, and you can see that I have a very small, very nice looking brace there, and of course I have my closing brace for my function here. So that means that I was actually acting inside of my function mkds add nodes, when in reality I had to finish up with that, because this absolutely has nothing to do with that. So I finish there, in fact here, sorry, there you go. You finish here that function, the function of adding anything to our admin bar menu hook. So when admin bar menu hook fires, it calls this function. So of course it's not going to work well when we're calling our add action another hook inside of this function when it's called already when this has executed. So of course it's not going to work. So change that there. So close your function right there, and then now add a completely new add action function here. Calls admin menu hook, fires this function, and this function is basically what we talked about. So URL of our plugin, and of course of our logo image. Then we're going to create the styles, and so we give it a tag of style, and then we use the class that we gave in this section right here. So it's our class mkds-icon, so we call that with the dot for class, and then we give it a background with the URL, and then no repeat, background position 26, height 20, etc., etc., display block, and that should do it. So if we save that and refresh, then of course there it is. So we have our two sub menus, and also we have our logo there at the very top. So as you can see, I'm using here our Firebug plugin for Firefox. Also, that is extremely helpful, especially when you're debugging and doing things exactly like I do, just breaking everything all over the place. So anyways, let's recap one more time, very quickly summarize what we did. So first of all, we define our plugin. So all this comment right here is needed to actually be able to activate our plugin in WordPress. Then we call add action, first parameter, the hook admin bar menu, and the second parameter, the name of the function that we're going to call, which I called mkds add nodes. This function takes this parameter, the WP admin bar, and so I am actually adding here first a variable that I'm creating of arguments with ID parent node and title, the span with the class that we want, and that's going to create the first item in the menu bar. Once we call this the object WP admin bar and the method add node with this arguments, then it actually goes ahead and adds that to the bar. So this adds the main logo one, and then this adds the second item, this adds the group, this adds a final third one under that group, right here. We finish our function, right? And then we start our call to a new hook, in this case admin menu, to add inline this styles. So once again, we call the mkds styles bar function that is going to first create a variable URL to find the URL of our image in our plugin. And then we create a string, and this string basically has the style that we're going to use for styling the logo inside of our menu bar. I hope that this hasn't been too confusing. I think that this should give you a very good idea about how to modify the admin menu bar of WordPress with your own plugin, and that is fantastic. So happy coding to everybody out there. Once again, my name is Alex Centeno with Mercados Interactive Partners, and don't hesitate to contact us by going and visiting mercados.com, merkados.com. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.